In this video, we're going to be factorizing a quadratic expression. Now this x squared here is what makes this expression a quadratic. That's because the highest power of x is 2. Now the highest power of x in an expression was, let's say, 3. The expression will no longer be quadratic. If the highest power of x was 1, then the expression would be linear and not quadratic. Now, as we discussed in earlier videos, factorization is the opposite of expansion. So in expansion, we get rid of the brackets, and in factorization, our objective is to get back the brackets. Now, when I look at this expression, I have x squared, which means there's a 1 in front of the x squared, so that's 1x squared. And anytime I have a 1 in front of the x squared, there's a short method I can use to factorize this expression. So what I'm going to do is look for factors of 15. So those will be 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. Now that's all the factors of 15 that I could find. Now I'm going to choose the pair when I add or subtract will give me this middle term 8. So obviously 1 plus 15 or 1 take away 15 could never give me 8. But 5 plus 3 could give me 8. So 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. So that's positive 5 and positive 3. So I simply open my brackets and put those numbers in. Positive 5 and x positive 3. Now it doesn't matter whether I write the positive 3 first and then the positive 5. So it doesn't matter, I could write positive 3 first and then the positive 5. Both mean the same thing because multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter if you say 5 by 3 or 3 by 5, it's still the same answer. Now in this quadratic expression, I have a negative x squared. That means there's a negative 1 in front of the x squared. Now the only time I can use the short method I use here in number 1 is when there's a positive 1 in front of the x squared. Therefore, I cannot use that short method here because of this negative sign in front of the x squared. Now I'm going to set up something called product, sum, and factor. And your product is multiplying the first term by the last term. So when I multiply negative x squared by positive 15, I will get negative 15x squared. And my sum would be this middle term here. And that middle term is positive 2x. Now again, I'm going to look for the factors of my product, which would be 15. So I'll write out all the factors I know, which is 15 by 1 and 5 by 3. Now I'm going to look at the both of them and see which one, if I add or subtract, I would get the sum, which is 2. Now 15 and 1, there's no way that could ever give me 2 if I add or subtract. But 5 and 3, if I say 5 take away 3, I could get 2. So it works like this. 5x take away 3x would give me 2x. And if I multiply that 5x and I multiply it by negative 3x, I will get negative 15x squared. So I'll write for my factor 5x take away 3x. So now I'll write back my negative x squared and then positive 5x take away 3x, and then I'll write back the positive 15. So this positive 2x got split into positive 5x and negative 3x. And what I'll do now, seeing that I have 4 terms, I'll factorize by grouping. So I'll look at the first 2 terms and I'll ask myself what is common between these 2 terms. Now obviously both terms have x in it, so x will be the highest common factor between these 2 terms. Whenever your first term has a negative sign, we will place a negative sign in front of our highest common factor. So I'll have negative x, open brackets, and I'll say negative x squared divided by negative x, and that will give me positive x. Then I'll say positive 5x divided by negative x, and that will give me negative 5. Then I'll look at the next two terms, and I'll look to see what is the highest common factor between negative 3x and 15. Now obviously 3 can go into 3x and 3 can go into 15. And as long as you have a negative sign in front of the first term, a negative sign will be in front of the highest common factor. So I'll have negative 3 as my highest common factor. And then I say negative 3x divided by negative 3, and that will give me positive x. And then I'll have positive 15 divided by negative 3, and that will give me negative 5. Notice when you factorize by grouping, you get these two brackets being the same. So you simply take what's outside the brackets, which is the negative x and the negative 3, and put it in brackets. And then the two brackets that are the same, you write it once. And that's the answer. Now in question 3, we have to factorize x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now here we have a 1 in front of the x squared, so we can use the short method to do this. So I'll look for the factors of 6, and those will be 6 times 1 will give you 6, and 3 times 2 will give you 6. Now I'll ask myself which pair, when I add or subtract, will give me 5. And in this case, both of them would give me 5. 6 take away 1 is equal to 5. And 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So the question here, which one is the right one to use? So what we'll do, we'll multiply them. So 6 times negative 1 gives me negative 6. And positive 3 times positive 2 would give me positive 6. Now this 6 here is positive, and because this 6 here is positive, the 3 and the 2 given you the positive 6 is the right ones to use. So we'll use 3 plus 2. So I'll open my brackets and I'll put x. My first one is positive 3, and x, and the next one is positive 2. And that's the answer. Now in question 4, we have 2x squared. So one time we notice that there's a 2 in front of the x squared, so I cannot use the short method. I have to go through the product sum factor way. The product is obtained by multiplying the first term by the last term. So 2x squared multiplied by positive 15 will give us positive 30x squared. Our sum would be the middle term, which would be positive 13. Positive 13x. Now we look for all the factors of our product. So all the factors of 30. So that will be 30 times 1, 15 times 2, 10 times 3, 5 times 6. And now we look to see which pair would give us 13 when we add or subtract. Now I recognize that 15 take away 2 is 13. And I also recognize that 10 plus 3 is 13. So again here, I have two factors that are given the sum. So I'll need to check to see which one is correct. So 15x take away 2x is positive 13x. And 15x multiplied by negative 2x is equal to negative 30x squared. Now clearly our product is positive 30x, and here we get a negative 30x squared. So this 15 take away 2 will be the wrong one to use. Now let's check the 10 and the 3. So 10x plus 3x is equal to 13x. And positive 10x multiplied by positive 3x would give us 30x squared. So the 10 plus the 3 satisfies both the sum and the product. So for my factor, I'll write 10x plus 3x. So now I write back the 2x squared, And instead of writing the 13x, I'll write 10x plus 3x. So positive 10x plus 3x. And then I'll write back the positive 15. So what we had is that this 13 split into the 10 and the 3. Now I have 4 terms, so I'll factorize by grouping. So I'll look at the first two, and I ask myself, what is the highest common factor between these two? I'm seeing x is common to both, and also 2 is common to both, because 2 could go into 10 and 2 could go into 2. So my highest common factor will be 2x. So 2x, open brackets. I'll divide 2x squared by 2x. The 2 will cancel the 2, and the x into x squared will give you x. Then I'll have 10x divided by 2x. The x's will cancel out each other, and 2 into 10 is 5. Close brackets. Then I'll look at the remaining two terms. So I ask myself, what is the highest common factor between these two terms? And that will be 3, because 3 could go into 3x, and 3 could go into 15. So I write positive 3, open brackets. And now I divide this 3x with 3, and I get x. I divide this 15 with 3, and I get positive 5. Notice we have the two brackets being the same again. So I take what's outside, the 2x and the positive 3, and put it in brackets. And then these two brackets that are the same, I write it once. And that's your answer.